what I'm showing you all here is essentially my procedure. Sorry, I got a little distracted by my telephone. So I'm going to be watching the chat on my phone. So this is essentially how I make a golf course. From start to finish, although it's just going to be start for now. So what are we doing here? Okay. Yeah, alrighty. So, cool. We're going to name this new course 4. And this is like from the very beginning. So here's what we're doing. We're doing, right, so theme. I'm going to choose the theme. Now, normally it defaults to rustic. I do not like rustic anymore. Rustic has bad bunker lips. They're really wide, and they're an off color, so you can't blend it with the sand, and it just looks terrible. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use Boreal, or no, not Boreal. We're gonna use rustic instead. I like to have an idea of what kind of course I'm gonna be making. I don't start a golf course just from scratch necessarily. I like to start a golf course with at least a general idea of what it is I'm going to try to create. So, this is going to be kind of a US Open style golf course. So it's going to be wooded, it's going to be narrow, it's going to be tight. I'm going to bump the hills up a little. Usually for this type of course, I was going to go 45 on the hills. I take everything down to 0 after that. I like to start a golf course from existing elevation. So, but I gotta have all the trees gone because I need to see where I'm routing these holes to. So, okie dokie. So I bumped up this elevation to 45. It's gonna be a kind of a hilly golf course, but it's gonna be more gradual. It's not gonna be giant ups, downs, every, mountainous, so to speak. So layout. I have gone into the settings and set my default number of holes at 0 because I'm going to make the holes individually. I'm going to do that in just a second. So fairway width is 0, fairway bunkers is 0, green size, a lot of guys do 0, I'm going to do 10 just because I want to see something. Green bunkers is 0. Now before I start laying stuff out, I'm going to go in my course settings and I'm going to put rough at 0 as well. Now I'm ready to get going, so sorry. Still getting over a little cold here. Okie dokie, so now I've got this. And, you got some hills here. I hate the fact that you can't start from a flat plot, even if you wanted to. In order for me to start with something completely flat, I'm going to have to do that myself. I've only published one golf course. I think I've published, 12, 15 golf courses in the last 2 years. And the only one that I published that had a completely flat plot to start with was Chestnut Log for TGC 2. So anyway, what am I going to do here now? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I like to make my own water later. So I'm not going to use the water that's on here. So what I'm going to do is sculpt land, raise, because I don't want to flatten it. I want some hills. So we're just going to raise, take the square, make it gigantic, and get it right onto the outside. We're going to raise this up about 20-something feet. We'll say 30. And one of the nice things about 19 is that 20 feet stays there unless I clear it out. I think the L3 is to clear it out. But I don't need to clear it out because I want the elevation. I don't want big elevation changes on here. Or wholesale giant elevation changes. I mean, there'll be some, and I can fix that later. But for now, let's make sure we're not doing anything crazy. Yeah, that looks fine. And again, there's nothing that is unfixable at this point. There's nothing that is not undoable. I know that's a lot of negatives in a row, but okay, so now I've got the land the way that I want it. Okay, I'm going to kind of take a look around here, and I'm just going to look for an obvious starting point. Okay, I don't like to start in the middle. I'm going to start toward the edge, but not all the way to the edge. Okay, with a couple of exceptions, you don't want to have stuff really super close to the edge because this transition looks like duty. So I say duty so I don't have to put the, what do you call it, mature content nonsense up. I could say it looks like shit. So this will be PG-13. So I can only drop one F-bomb for the rest of the broadcast. And okie dokie. So I'm going to put my clubhouse right here because here's a nice looking view from the first tee down the hill. I like it. So clubhouse is going to go here. I'm not going to put a clubhouse, but I am going to create holes. And my first hole is going to start right here. And all we're doing at this point is putting down 18 holes and routing my golf course, in the direction the holes are going to go. And I'm going to try to use the elevation as best I can. If there are obvious places where the holes are going to go, then I'm going to use that. By the way, I'm going to hit the R3 or the right stick button. I'm going to hit that a couple of times, and then over on the right, you see I've got hole yardage. That's how you know how long the hole is. So we're going to kind of go this way because I don't want to go up the giant hill, but I want the giant hill to be there. And what I like to do is set my waypoints for these holes at about where my drive is going to go to. So we're going to go there, and then have a little dog leg left, and you want to I'm going to have a medium length hole here, about 460. So that's like a drive and a 7-iron, pretty much. Not a horrifically long hole to begin with. Now, I forgot to do the settings thing I was going to do, like I said. Course settings, rough, not heavy rough, but regular rough is going to be 0. And because I'm not going to use rough, except for later when I'm putting down surfaces, which you will see in a different video. Okay, so there's number 1. Now I'm going to pretty much do the rest of the holes without a break. I'm going to break after 9 holes, just see how long my golf course is. Okay, so there's number 1, and now we can pretty much go. You can go anywhere you want. A lot of guys, in the message boards have talked about how this is like Bob Ross creating, is your world, right? So that's absolutely true. So the second hole is going to be a par 5. We're going to do the same kind of start anyway that you may see at Augusta, and then so 550, 560 that's very reachable. We're going to put it right on the edge of reachable at 580. Okay, and what we're doing, like I said, is we're just getting in the direction of where the holes go, and then we're deciding which holes are going to be par 3, par 4, par 5, and how long the golf course is going to be. Okay, this is going to be a long golf course. This is probably going to be 7,600 yards when all is said and done, maybe longer. Again, because I'm going for, that difficulty. All right, still going here. It's 295. We need a hole that goes this direction. I haven't had a dog leg right yet. Okay, this is going to be a long one, about 480. All right, and now it's time for a par 3. And it is totally up to you how you want to do this. Routing a golf course is probably, short, next to making greens and designing green complexes. This is probably my favorite part of the designer, because I can absolutely, this is when choices are made. And again, these are choices still that can be undone. Okay, so you're not at a point at which you're making decisions that you need to then stick with to the end of the design. And I'll talk about those maybe, I don't know if I'll talk about those in this one, but, for now, I'm just routing holes. Okay, so this is going to be par 3. Medium length par 3, but a $180, $190. 90's good. Okay. You'll notice, or maybe you won't, but only the red tees are here so far. The default tee in this game is the red tee. Excuse me. I had to burp, and then I hit the microphone, so sorry if that was loud. Red tees, I don't like where this hole is. I can move this. So hole settings, move. Remove him. He's too close to number 3. We'll go like that. But yeah, nothing can can, nothing is unfixable at this point. You're not stuck with any of this. Oh, this is going to work out nice. See, here's number 5. I've got a nice, nice raised area for tee. All right, so number 5, we're going to kind of make number 5 go out this way. That's going to look cool. Okay, and again, I'm using the elevation to see what is going to look cool or not look cool. This is not going to be a long hole. This will be one of those, like, 390. And then I'll come back. We'll have the tees down here. You want the tees to be near by where the last green was, but they don't have to be right on top of it. Okay? And like I said, you're just designing the order of the holes. You want to vary, you don't want like, all par 4s in a row or all par 3s in a row. You want to vary that. You want to just, think of that as, from the player's shoes. Okay, what's a player going to like about a golf course? That players like a good flow, and they like, some variety. So, all right, this is going to have to go this way. This is going to be a par 3. So I got 4 and 7 are my par 3s. Go over here and go like this. That's a shorty. So I'm going to make this one a shorty. Just out of nowhere. But I don't want it to be that short. Not on the front 9. So if I don't want it to be that short, I'm going to move the tee. Move tee. I'm going to put him over here. So that's a little better. 172. All right, it's a little far from this tee, but I think it'll be fine. There's 7, and now I'd have to do 8 and 9, and that'll come right back to the clubhouse. So I kind of got lucky with this one. The last time I did this, when I did this in the other video, my routing was really bad, and I wound up having to do a little kind of a tricky move there. It's up to you. It's overdone to have number 9 be the par 5. So I want to make number 8 the par 5. And we're going to make this a long one. Not quite. See, about 600. So, okay, and then number 9 will come nicely like this. Be a nice long par 4 to end. All right, so there's my front 9. Okay, this routing actually worked out beautifully. All right, the holes are near enough together, but not right on top of each other, because I don't, that's a look I'm not going for. If I were going for that look, then I would have them closer together. But and again, I can move these anytime I want to go get that look if I want to. I don't know if any of you guys have played Muir Woods. Muir Woods is a golf course that I just played as a ranger, because they're going to probably use it on the CC Tour for TGC Tours here pretty soon. So I had a round on that this morning. It's a wonderful golf course, first of all. But it is tight, man. I mean, there is trees every which way. You got to be hitting like, 3 woods and 5 woods and 2 hybrids and stuff off of tees. It's really pretty funny. So it's quite a golf course. But, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself here. All right, so I'm using, again, I'm clicking that. Ooh, 3804 is my front 9. That is long. And that's fine, okay? You have to, as a designer, you have to be very careful. You have to be, yeah, I do my routing early, almost all the time. This is the common way I do it. There are some other times where I'll do some elevation work first, but I always like to start from elevation. I like to start from at least something. These are hills set at 45 if you didn't see the beginning of the video. So a lot of times if I'm going to make a course that is fairly mountainous, I'll set the hills at 100. But then that requires some work, because then I've got hills going uphill like hundreds of feet and stuff like that. There's a golf course that I'm working on outside of my Invicta Design Contest course. It's a desert course, but I raised the entire plot like 300 something feet or whatever, and then you can look off the edge. It's kind of a cool look. There was a Swiss course that the name escapes me, unfortunately. There was a Swiss course that was out a few months ago. That is just a stunning golf course. So that being said, I'm gonna make the back nine now. And this, this is where you can be a little creative still. And this is very general stuff. Okay, the lengths of these holes as I'm making them now is still, it's not something I'm locked into. It's not something that I can't undo later. Okay, so let's get back to the hole. Okay, so 282, and you see I'm routing this right into a giant hill like this, but I can fix that hill. So, because I kind of want to go in this direction, I'm going to do a reverse loop back to and have 18 wind up next to number 9. This is the kind of thing, this routing thing. I love routing a golf course. This is the kind of thing that when you have done this a few times, you kind of get to know how it's going to turn out. You kind of get to, okay, well, if this hole goes this way, that hole goes that way, blah blah blah. You get an idea of what was the last par 3 I had. So last par 3 was 7. All right, so 11. I've been doing a lot of par 3s as number 11 lately, so we're not going to do that here. We're going to do another par 4. Right, but this one's got to be a dogleg left because that one's dogleg right. You want to vary that as much as possible. And again, even this is not undoable. This is, I tend to make these decisions now. Building a golf course is a lot about making decisions and deciding, how many holes are going to be this direction, that direction. My golf courses tend to have a lot of dogleg rights. That fits my eye. I'm a left-handed person. I play golf right-handed, but I see things a little differently than most right-handed golfers. So I see things that from left to right, whereas most golfers prefer to see things right to left. So, okay, where am I at here? All right, we're going to do our par 3 now. He needs to go in this direction. Up the hill. I usually like to make the first par 3 on the back 9 a long one. So we're going to make this one very long at 235. And now I need to figure out, I'm going to make another par 4. I'm kind of an Augusta type deal where I'm going to have my 2 par 5s kind of right next to each other. So this is still going to be a par 4. Oops, too far. Go here. And go back up here. Nice long hole at 493. I'll fix that elevation probably so that it is... that 13 would have been... An Augusta 13 would have been a par 5. That's okay. Again, this is my golf course. I can do whatever I want. So it looks like I've gone way too far out wide to have the holes be... So what I'm going to do is actually... I'm going to kind of go back in this way and back here, and then I'll scrunch up the other holes so that everything's a little closer together. 14 is a par 5. Do I have enough room to go this way? I think I do. Shoot, no, I really don't. All right, so I'm going to have to go this way. And that's fine. So now, that decision was made for me. Up the hill. Now we can kind of come down the hill. Nice long par 4. No, we're not going to do a long par 4. We're going to do a shorty par 4. Yep. Here, and then like that. Yep. That's 15. 16 will be a... Okay, so here's how, And again, some of this stuff will suddenly become clear to you as you're doing this. You're going to suddenly see that... Okay, now this, you're running out of options at this point because you've got to get back to the clubhouse. So what we're going to do is we're going to make our, which direction? You want to alter directions of par 3s also. So 12 goes that direction. Where was the other par? 7 goes that way. 4 goes that way. So I'm going to have 16 kind of go this way if I want to really get them all. And I usually like to make the final par 3 on my course be the shortest of the par 3s. So that's 16. Whew. Well, I've kind of done myself in here. So 17 is going to be a par 5, and it's going to have to come this way. I even sound like Bob Ross. That's no good. So we'll go like that and kind of come up here. We're going to make this a shorter one at 5:30, so that is reachable very much. I like to end a golf course by having holes which golfers can birdie to win. So, and then 18 is going to come this way and then up the hill. Not super long. Yeah, about 470-ish. And boom, I got a golf course. All right, now there's 2 big giant areas right here and right here. This one not really fixable. I could make 8 and 9 kind of come this way maybe. You know, I might just leave that a giant area of woods. Now this I can fix, and I'm going to right now. So this is a situation where I'm going to ignore the existing elevation. Go to hole settings, move hole, and we're going to move him over here like this. And yeah, that looks good. You just don't want giant gaps like this in between holes, okay? In real life, yeah, on some golf courses, you're going to have that where you have, you know, housing developments and you got to drive, you know, halfway, you know, several blocks to get to the next hole. But this is not a game where you can really do housing developments because you only have a finite amount of houses that kind of look right. So I'm going to put him back here just a tad, and then we're going to move 13 like this, and then, oh shoot, there's 14 there, so we're going to, oops, wrong way, kind of go like that. Okay, so that's a little better now. All right, now this area is not so big. Okay, but what you're going to see next is the last thing I do before I start working on holes. I mean, yes, I'm going to do some elevation work. You know, I'm going very quickly, by the way. It would not take me 23 minutes to do this. It would usually take me about an hour because I would do some elevation stuff as I was going. Like I would see an area like this and say, ooh, yay, nice downhill tee shot, and then kind of back up the hill, but I need to flatten some of this out. Okay, the other thing I might do, if this were a more mountainous course, I might take these large areas and build them up and make big, giant, you know, mountains out of them. You know, what I'm going to wind up doing in some of these areas, like over here, I'll probably put a lake. You know, same with kind of in these areas where holes, you know, this 15 and 16 can share a lake. 15 is a nice short hole that should share a lake. It's relatively flat over here, so you know, I'll probably do that. Okay, so aside from routing and then doing some elevation, which you're not going to see right now, the other thing I then do, okay, is because this is going to be a wooded golf course, I'm going to go over here to my terrain settings, trees, and put trees back up at 100. Trees at 100. And now you see, of course, my golf course has been obliterated by trees, but that's okay because what I'm going to do next is clear all the trees away from the holes themselves and leave all the trees on the outskirts, or what I call ambient trees. I'm going to leave all of them so that I don't have to plant those later and then use up my plant meter. You can only plant so many things. Okay, and the farther, under the words New Course 4 over there on the side where it says New Course 4, upper left, New Course 4, hole 12, right underneath that is your plant meter. You can see I haven't even started it yet. Okay, once that gets across about halfway across the screen, that means you've got a lot of stuff planted, and it's going to slow down your golf course. It's going to potentially cause some lag, and that is no bueno. You don't want lag, because people who range your golf courses for TGC tours like me, I'm going to say, hey, this golf course has lag, don't use it. So then what do I do next? I go to Sculptland. clear generated objects. I'm going to use this tool here, and I'm going to just kind of trace the holes out, remove all the trees. And I hate that there's bushes. They do stupid bushes. I hate that. And I'm going to leave some trees in, obviously the ones that are way off the course. But I want some of these trees to stay. I do want to get rid of these dumb bushes, though. I don't like having the bushes out there like that. All right, so that looks pretty cool. And then just kind of go around and start deleting stuff. This will take a little while. I'm going to do it as quickly as possible here. I may not get finished. This is starting to run a little long, and I want to put this on YouTube, so I don't want to have to spend an hour editing this thing, so I'm pretty much going to put it up as is, and I'm at 26 minutes already, so I'm doing a terrible job, by the way, of deleting trees where I don't want them and leaving them where I do want them, but you see what I'm doing here. I'm basically, I could do this, really, and just obliterate all the trees on my golf course. But I want to leave some because I don't want to have to replant them later and then use up my object meter. So, very good, very good, very good. This is all looking just fine. Now, I don't even know if I'll finish this golf course. I love the way I routed it, though. I'm very happy with the routing. The elevation that's on this golf course, I'm not thrilled with it. I'm going to have to create some of my own. But, for the most part, this looks good. I was going to put a lake here, so I may as well clear all them trees out. And again, we're still not at the point at which you can't undo some of this stuff. I haven't even saved it yet. Now, that's a cardinal sin, by the way. I should have already saved it like 2 or 3 times. Because you never know when the power's going to go out. I'm on Xbox, but... you never know when the power's going to go out. Funny story. That is true, by the way. This is a true story. I was on the Xbox building a golf course. Very nice golf course, by the way. I believe it was I was working on my my international, the National Treasure Contest course. I did Cuba. Didn't do very well in the contest. It was a good course. It wasn't a great course. There were faults with it, and the faults that the judges did find are all valid, and I was like, yeah, you're totally right. But anyway, I was working on that, and I had done some pretty hard work on it, and but I hadn't saved it in a while. And my wife, there's a switch that kills all the power to this room, and she hit that switch by accident. It killed everything, including the Xbox, and I lost about an hour's worth of work. So that does happen. And anything can happen. So, and that includes bad things. So save often. Even as I'm telling you that, I'm not saving it. I just want to finish this up and wrap the video up. So, all right, let's get these. I don't like these out here like this. I think that pretty much does it. I can do some of these over here. Again, a lot of this is up to you, and you can do or not do as much of this procedure that I'm doing as you want. I gotta get rid of some of these. These are going to be in my way. The other reason I like to have trees out of the way is because I want to set my lighting, or at least what I think I want my lighting to be, generally pretty early on. Okay, right now the sun's like directly overhead, and it's going to wash out my entire golf course. So I want my lighting to be, I want the time of day to be about 8:30, 9 o'clock. I'll do orientation later, but inclination I usually put down. I'm going to put this guy, oops, that's no good. I'm going to put it at about 33. That will not be where I have it at the end. It'll be more like in the low 20s. But at least this way, now I will have, when I choose textures, I'll have a good idea of what they really look like when I choose my textures later. That's going to happen probably on the next video, maybe not. But for now, this is what I've got. Okay, 30 minutes of work, and I've got a routed golf course that I can then start working on. Putting down, doing some more detailed elevation work. Obviously, I'm going to smooth all this stuff out. You'll see that on the next video, and I may re-record that today. I don't know. I'm either going to re-record it today or tomorrow. I'm a musician, so I'm kind of in the middle of really heavy work season for me. I don't have a lot of free days between now and Christmas, so But most of the work I do is at night, which is awesome. So that means I have the day to do this stuff. So anyways, thanks guys for watching. I saw a few of you guys poke your little heads in and take a look at what's going on in here. I really appreciate the views. Follow me if you haven't already. I'm going to be doing these videos all the time now. So I'm also going to be streaming some rounds. I'm not very good. You know, I play at TGC Tours. I'm on the Challenge Circuit C Tour. I did get as far as the web tour last season, but, you know, things have changed a lot. I'm having a hard time with the new game so far, but, you know, I'm in the societies. I'm very active at TGC Tours on the message boards there. So I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you all next time.